Hey folks, it's Patriot Nurse. Artificial intelligence in your healthcare. What can you expect for the next generation of healthcare over the next 10 years? The results may shock you, and I want to help you get prepared for the new reality of artificial intelligence in your life when you go to the doctor's office. Let's get started. So friends, this is the next iteration of technology, and many people throughout history have failed to realize the pervasive impacts of the newest generation of technology and what it's going to mean for them in their everyday lives. If I was to get in touch with you 25 years ago and say, this thing called the internet is going to be so ubiquitous that every single person, for the most part, is going to have a device that they carry on their person or within arm's reach that connects them to this internet, that they conduct transactions in, and also that they fill out their healthcare forms in, you probably wouldn't believe me. You may not even believe yourself if you yourself went back to your previous version of you 25 years ago and said, hey, yesterday's self, let me tell you what future self knows, and this is what it looks like. So too, the impacts of artificial intelligence in healthcare are really going to be something that we have to adapt to and we have to deal with, and also we need to be smart about in moving forward. So the things I'm going to discuss are not only what you as a patient are going to feel on the patient side of the equation going in to receive healthcare and artificial intelligence as being part of it, but also what you need to be on the lookout for to protect yourself, and also what we as nurses and as healthcare providers are going to be experiencing. Because I'd be willing to bet that most nurses and healthcare providers in general have not even considered the drastic implications that it's going to have, not only on the employment numbers of nurses, doctors, EMTs, etc., but also what this means for us in our professional roles and responsibilities, and also our ethics decisions moving forward. So when you as a patient go to a doctor's office now or an appointment, oftentimes you are met with, here's this paperwork, fill it out. And the drudgery of repeating oneself over and over again is insulting to the intelligence. But the reason why this is done is so if there has been an update in your medical history, that the person providing care for you can be aware of this and make the best decisions regarding your care, and also to make the best decisions regarding the updated realities of that patient's assessment. So one of the ways that artificial intelligence is being used now is that it's used in the billing process. It's also used in the coalescing of data and also the updating of profiles of patient records and profiles, looking for discrepancies, looking for trends, and looking for changes. Ironically, many people have found through using ChatGPT that their outcomes in diagnostics, and the thing is, you're not supposed to say, oh, like a ChatGPT or an AI bot can diagnose something. You're not supposed to say that. But the reality is that because these machine learning programs are more neutral as far as their if-then scenarios, they can, in many cases, be superior to the decision-making and problem-solving that a human care provider will be using. So for that reason, even if you are not utilizing services like ChatGPT or Grok or artificial intelligence, machine learning, your healthcare provider increasingly is going to be doing this because human beings are limited and there's only so much information that a human mind can store. And also there's only so much capability because of hours in a day that a human can utilize to update himself on the best practices for the profession, the newest research that's coming out. A machine doesn't sleep. And so those machines are going to be the most up-to-date source of references, and many healthcare providers are going to be utilizing them moving forward. So what does this mean for your data and for your information? Unless something drastically changes, I foresee that there are going to be now new layers of consent where, for instance, you go into a doctor's office and they have the HIPAA forms and all the stuff that you fill out with your patient medical history and prescriptions. There's probably going to be something in the future regarding utilizing your information for machine learning and artificial intelligence. Now, on one hand, this could be a good thing because the more that machines learn patterns and consequences and outcomes from trends in patient care, the better they can be able to spot problems in the future and potentially save lives and help people live healthier lives. The flip side of the equation is that many people are not, however, going to feel comfortable having their information, their life's experience, and ultimately their essence broken down into information that's shoved into a computer to learn about them and potentially live out some type of Terminator future. There are many ethics considerations that are going to be facing the medical industry on parallel with the artificial intelligence development industry. So I'd be on the lookout in the future for little boxes that you may be checking, making sure to read that you are utilizing artificial intelligence in your care and that your information will be submitted for machine learning. Now, what does this mean from a healthcare provider standpoint? We've talked about, up until this point, the initial stages of artificial intelligence being used for patient care. But what does this mean for nurses, for doctors, for healthcare assistants, EMTs, CNAs? What does this mean? Frankly, what this means is that a lot of us are going to be out of a job. And the reason I say this is because of many factors. The first is that the rising cost of healthcare, it's a multifaceted thing. New technologies require research and development, and the companies that produce these new technologies, they have to recoup that and keep the bottom line black in order to keep providing services and products for the future. So we know that cost of healthcare goes up, the more technologically inclined the services become and the products become. But one of the darker sides of the healthcare industry, particularly in the United States, is that of hospital administrators. And I understand that they have a job and a role to play, but I have to tell you from my own experience in dealing with them both in the hospital and also out of the hospital in a personal setting, I have found them to be some very cold, calculating, soulless, gutless, heartless people. And on one hand, numbers are numbers, and you have to treat them objectively. But the problem is when your numbers are made up of people and their experience and their suffering, you don't just get to dismiss bottom lines as the key objective. So when it comes right down to it, friends, hospital administrators are going to see bottom lines, and they're going to see the black and the red, and they're going to want to keep their administration running in the black. And the best way to do this, for those of you nurses, you know this, is to cut staffing. To cut staffing and to force staffing to utilize more resources that are cheaper in order to increase their patient loads without having to pay benefits for those staffing. Now, the way that I experienced this in previous generation of nursing changes was initially with the implementation of computerized charting. And I'm an old school nurse. I grew up in the early days with paper charting. I love my paper charts. For those of you who are nurses or healthcare providers, leave me a comment below. Do you miss your paper charts or do you love the electronics? Let me know. But here's the thing. Once the hospital started going to the electronic charting, they didn't need as much manpower because it was faster, effectively, to do this. And because it was faster, it was more efficient, you could provide service with, ultimately, fewer personnel. And so the way that they mitigated this, amongst other things, was to go down from 3 shifts a day to 2. I experienced this personally. I used to work a second shift where it was great. I was working 3 to 11, and then they switched everybody over to 7A and 7P. And I saw so much burnout from nurses, really because they wanted to pay 2 shifts worth of benefits instead of 3 shifts worth of benefit. And you would think it would ultimately be a net neutral, but it wasn't. Nurses decided to leave and retire in order to effectively see an easier and better quality of life rather than slaving away for 12 hours, 3 to 4 days in a row, trying to recuperate and then get back into the grind. The artificial intelligence revolution in healthcare is going to usher in something similar and potentially more catastrophic from a personnel standpoint. When you look at what happens with nursing and nursing care, part of what we do is very repetitive, it's very boring, but also that repetition and that boringness of filling out the same care plans and checking the same little boxes, that opens up room for error. And so artificial intelligence is, I think, increasingly going to be utilized as part of a nurse extender and also for help with med reconciliation and really taking the efforts of nurses and making it be more effective and more efficient. The problem is a machine doesn't have the ability to put a hand on a patient and to feel a patient and to be present with a patient and to be empathetic with a patient. The machine also doesn't have a spidey sense. We do. And nurses, unions, and nursing advocacy organizations, I think, have increasingly clued in on this. And I've read several articles to this point. That once you start introducing machines into carrying more and more of the burden of patient care in whatever form it is, whether it's medrec or whether it's just trying to reconcile and stop duplicate charting and make things more efficient, it's easier to miss things that way because you don't have a human present. And because you don't have a human present, you're going to be de facto dropping your standard of care. And some people would say, particularly the hospital administrators, that your standard of care is going to be better because the nurses are going to have the repetition work cut out and the machine's going to do that for them, and all these drudgery tasks and things that are easily repeatable and that are burdensome, that these are going to be cut out and somehow the nurses are going to be freer to care for patients. The reality is that care is more than just charts being checked. It's more than meds being reconciled. It's being present with the patient, holding a patient's hand, more than just giving them their meds, more than just making sure that you've got 2 witnesses for wasting a controlled substance. Part of this in-care experience for being a good healthcare provider is being a human being with another human being and being an emotionally present person with them through a stage of life where they're probably suffering. They're not having their best day being there with us. And so for that reason, I think that the shift we're going to see potentially is going to make things more efficient, but in a very dehumanizing way. Probably quite similar to the impacts of electricity felt in the United States in the latter half of the 1800s and early part of the 1900s. Entire professions, particularly in the service industry, were effectively wiped out within the course of 5 to 10 years. And that's not enough time for people to adapt and learn to code, which I think is funny because the advice that people have gotten over the years from the would-be soothsayers and the intelligentsia is, oh, we just need to learn to code because these jobs that are human jobs with hands on, they're not coming back. Well, guess what? People did learn to code, and ChatGPT has now effectively outthroned people in coding. So I have no reason to suspect that it would be any different when it comes right down to it, to the impacts upon the medical system, whether it's in the medical records part of the secretary, the HUC standard on the unit, or from the nurses actually going out there and being present with patients. It is increasingly going to become part of our experience. And the question is, how do we on the ground level as nurses and healthcare providers, how do we be that floodgate and that safety check for our patients? One of the things that struck me when I was a nurse coming up and ultimately when I graduated and took my Florence Nightingale oath was the impact of technology is pretty much unceasing. It's unrelenting. There's always going to be this push forward. But the check in technology shifting from a benefit to a malfeasance is the human standard. It's the pushback of the ethical person, the person standing there and saying, no, it's not okay for you to do this with this information. It's not okay for you to take technology to this level for this benefit. And so, friends, I think we fail to remember this a lot of times, that it's the human that ultimately puts that check. It's the human on the ground that makes that decision. And there's always going to be a necessity for this in healthcare. The question is, are we going to advocate for that? What is the version of best practice for us as nurses? And what do our patients want? So let me ask you that question. If you're a patient listening to this, if you're someone who regularly goes into the healthcare system, what do you want? Do you want, and to what degree perhaps, maybe this isn't an all or nothing. Do you want artificial intelligence that is involved in your care at all? Do you want it for a limited amount of time? Maybe making sure that errors are caught on your medical record, that you don't go into surgery looking for a left hip replacement and end up getting your right hip replaced? Is that where you feel comfortable with machines checking people? Or do you feel that that in and of itself is a threat? Let me know. Where do you see that line? So a take-home message that I really want to bring in this portion of the broadcast is that there's always going to be a human element that keeps things at bay. And oftentimes that human element that keeps disasters from happening in the healthcare system is not even the person who has the letters after their name. It's you, the patient, or you, the family member, or you, the patient advocate. I can tell you so many times of instances where I myself have been the person that caught an issue in a family member's care. Or I was the person who interacted face-to-face with a nurse and said, hey, listen, this is what I'm seeing in my family member. This is their pertinent history. These are the meds that they're on. And this is what we know about the pathophysiology of the tissues involved here. Do you see this as well? Do you think it could be correlated to this? Have you discussed this with a physician? In order for you to be able to catch these things and to be that ultimate fail-safe in a system going awry, you have to know how to look for things. You have to know how to assess things. You have to know which questions to ask. And so to that end, I've created a simple 4-hour course to help you be able to do that in this new era of technology really taking over healthcare. The Foundations of Medical Prep course is designed for someone who doesn't know anything, who has no background in medicine, to be able to learn skills and also to be able to learn simple assessment tools for being able to figure out, what does this mean when I see a blood pressure reading doing this and this? What does it mean when I see a temperature doing this? What questions should I be asking here? The 4-hour Foundations of Medical Prep course is designed to help you be able to take charge of your family's health, whether in good times or in rough times, whether out of the hospital or even in the hospital, to double check the work of people who are supposed to be knowing what's best for you. So friends, I hope you found this video helpful. I hope that it got you thinking. If you did enjoy this video, please share it with one person who you know would be benefited from it. Maybe someone who is about to go in for a surgery, maybe someone who works in healthcare. People need to be having these conversations right now ahead of this massive wave in technology that will soon be overtaking the healthcare industry. Friends, if you do enjoy the free content on this channel, the Patriot Nurse channel, please make sure that you are subscribed and you've clicked the bell button. That bell button is important. It makes sure that the YouTube algorithm masters keep sending you this important information at no cost. Hope y'all enjoy the video. Please make sure and share it again with one person who you know will be benefited from it. Have a very blessed week. Y'all may the Lord bless and keep you. For now, it's Patriot Nurse signing off, and I'll see y'all later.